Very warm welcome to all. A very good afternoon to all our guests joining in from the UK. A very good evening to all our guests joining in from India and South Asia. And a very good morning to all our guests joining in from the US and South America. Today is the seventh seminar in the second edition of this seminar series on the digital future for business and society, emerging perspectives on AI, blockchain, and IoT. This seminar series has been jointly hosted by Professor Yogesh Dwivedi, who is a professor of digital marketing and innovation, founding director of the Emerging Markets Research Centre, and co-director of research, School of Management, Swansea University, Wales, UK. Our co-host for this seminar series is Professor Ramakrishnan Raman, Director SIBM Pune, Dean Faculty of Management, Symbiosis International University, and Director Strategy and Development, Symbiosis. Due to an unforeseen meeting that has just come up, Dr. Ramakrishnan Raman wouldn't be able to join us today evening for this seminar. Our entire series is jointly supported by the Center for Technology, Innovation and Management Management and Enterprise, Time, the University of Kent, UK, Digital Marketing and Analytics, SIG, the Academy of Marketing, Grenoble IAE, Graduate School of Management, a Grenoble INP School of the University of Grenoble, Alpes, the E-Business and E-Government SIG, British Academy of Management, and the UK Academy for Information Science Systems, UKAIS. To tell you something about the seminar series itself, emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, and Internet of Things undoubtedly offer a transformative potential for the augmentation and potential replacement of human tasks and activities within a wide range of industrial, intellectual, and social applications. The pace of change for this new AI technological age is staggering, with new breakthroughs in algorithmic machine learning and autonomous decision making, coupled with developments related to blockchain and IoT, engendering new opportunities for continued innovation. The impact of AI and other emerging technologies could be significant, with industries and sectors ranging from agriculture, finance, healthcare, manufacturing, retail, supply chain, logistics, and utilities, all potentially being disrupted by the onset of these technologies. The seminar series on the digital future for business and society, emerging perspectives on AI, blockchain, and IoT, will present various perspectives from a number of leading expert speakers to highlight the opportunities and challenges posed by the rapid emergence of these transformative technologies. Today, we have amidst us Professor Neer Shetri from the University of California, Greensboro, USA, who is an eminent thought leader in this area. He will share his thoughts with us on the area of blockchain systems and ethical sourcing in the mineral and metal industry, a multiple case study. To tell you something about Professor Neer Shetri, he is the professor at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, and a research fellow at Kobe University. He has authored 12 books and more than 180 academic articles. His books and articles have been translated into Arabic, Chinese, German, Spanish, French, Japanese, Portuguese, and other languages. He has been ranked number 6 in the world in research on blockchain in management by Technological Forecasting and Social Change 2021, the most published and second most cited author in research on blockchain in logistics and supply chain management by the IEEE Transactions on Engineering Management in 2020, and second most cited and sixth most published author in blockchain research by the Central University of Tamil Nadu in 2020. Neer was the winner of IT Professional's Most Popular Paper Award in 2020, 19, and 18, an outstanding contribution in authorships award in 2020 and 2019. Neer's work has been featured by hundreds of media outlets such as Wall Street Journal, Foreign Policy, Public Radio International, Scientific American, and Bloomberg TV. He has provided consulting services to Asian Development Bank, the Commonwealth Secretariat, various United Nations agencies, and a number of private companies. His editorial roles include Computing's Economics Editor of Computer, IT, and Economics, Editor of IT Professional, and Associate Editor of Electronic Commerce Research. In 2018, he has also given a TED Talk about the potential roles of cryptocurrencies in fighting poverty. Professor Neer, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you with us. Over to you, sir, to hear your talk.
Okay, thank you very much, Santosh, for the introduction. And thank you, Yogesh, for inviting me. And this is really interesting things that you are doing for people all over the world. So yeah, when I talked with Yogesh long ago, I think 8-9 months ago, this article was only in a draft form. Since then, a little bit more progress, and it was actually published a few weeks ago in, sorry. Okay, it's not moving, 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, it was published few weeks ago in the International Journal of Logistics Management. So it is already published article. I'm sorry about that. But I have added a little bit more things which is not published, just to add kind of the ethical sourcing and sustainability and that type of thing. So let's go to the presentation. This one is these kits are from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and if you are driving any car in India or the UK or the US, maybe Tesla or any car, then these kits are working for you actually. And here is a story. In the Washington, DC Federal Court, the human rights organization, that is International Rights Advocates, has a class action lawsuit that was filed in 2019, about more than 2 years ago, and the plaintiffs, and the defendant in the lawsuit are the US technology companies, Apple, Alphabet, Dell, Microsoft, and the car company Tesla. So these kids, like 15 of them are the plaintiffs, and there was one kid, John Doe 3, who was working on a Chinese mining company, and basically the Covalent supply chain from here until they actually use Covalent in the Tesla car's battery, the supply chain is really long. They say that it might be as long as 13 layers. Okay, so basically they were working for the Chinese, the mining company, and then the Covalent goes to China and then to South Korea, and it travels all over the world before finally going to the Tesla factory, and people use that car. And so John Doe 3 actually lost his leg. It was really dangerous work. He was carrying very heavy load of cobalt, and so he lost his leg. And another person, John Doe 1 actually was only 6-year-old when he started working, and so he also had serious injury. And so all these kids are actually paid 75 cents a day. And these technology companies that I was naming here in the lawsuit, they are really smart companies. And actually, they might very well know about their supply chain. This is what the defendants are arguing here. Because, you cannot really imagine this $1 trillion company, Apple, not knowing what is going on in supply chain. So, but the non-blockchain world, because we are not really, we are not able to trace and track that using the methods available right now. So that's why they say that, oh, we don't know our supply chain, where our cobalt comes from. So that's the problem here in the cobalt supply chain. And similar thing in the diamond supply chain, and these are the people kind of mining diamond in the country of Sierra Leone. And in the country of Sierra Leone, that is one of the main exporters of diamond. And in the diamond industry also, there are few these non-blockchain processes. They call one of them is the Kimberley process. And the Kimberley process basically tries to trace and track the diamonds, but they only focus on they call the conflict diamond. Conflict diamond means, they are not basically doing any harm to the legitimate government, and they focus only on the rough diamond. But if you look at the blood diamond in general, which implies all the children and maybe other illegal and unethical things, and the trade is at least $10 billion that these kids are making diamond, so these rich people from other parts of the world can enjoy. So these are some of the problems going on right now that the existing technological solutions cannot solve. Maybe blockchain systems that they are developing, they might help to address some of these problems. When we say blockchain system, so there is kind of a lot of reports, and one of them is the consulting company Deloitte. And what the company says, or what we mean by blockchain system is, people might be talking about the trillions of dollars of economic impact that the blockchain might have in the future, transforming economy and society and all the things. When you say blockchain system, we are talking about blockchain plus something else, or you are doing in your seminar series like blockchain combining with artificial intelligence, or Internet of Things, or satellite imagery. So we are talking about all of those things. Blockchain system by itself cannot really do a lot of things. So it has to be combined with other technological solutions. That is the idea here. And so, and going back to the focus of the article, mineral and metal, like the cobalt supply chain that I was talking earlier, and the diamond supply chain that the picture it's showing the one slide before, they are really difficult to track because they have to kind of undergo a lot of different changes, physical characteristics that change, chemical composition, and a lot of other features. And there is one of the companies, traceability as a service provider, blockchain company, that is a British company, Circular, and founder and CEO of Doug Johnson Penske is saying that tracking this metal and mineral is not a simple task. That's what it's saying. Complicated because if you track banana is always banana. But if you track diamond, and diamond is kind of a little bit easier. But if you, for example, track cobalt, 13 layers supply chain, and it has to kind of change the physical characteristics, chemical composition, all those things. And so what he's saying is banana doesn't change into a diamond halfway through its journey, but these metals change a lot. And so this is a challenging thing, and how exactly blockchain systems are being developed to address this kind of trace and track problem that the mineral and metal industry is facing. That is the focus of this presentation. So two things that I'm trying to address in these articles. One is the governance arrangements, how blockchain is probably able to change that, and there are a lot of sustainability related concerns, and I'm mainly focusing on the social sustainability or socially responsible action in this presentation, and the mineral and metal industry, how blockchain might change that, and how blockchain can promote socio-economic empowerment among disadvantaged or marginalized group working in this industry. So these are the two things that I'm trying to address in this presentation and article. So it has a lot of practical importance, and you might be hearing a lot in the media about the cobalt and the blood diamond of battery. That's what they call cobalt, and of course, blood diamond is another thing. And the example that I gave earlier, the kind of lawsuit going on in the Washington D.C. federal court about the kind of 15 plaintiffs from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where they produce 70% of the world's cobalt, and children as young as 6-year-old work in the mine, and they don't go to school, and they are exposed to unsafe working conditions and skin and respiratory toxicity, and all those problems they are facing, and they are paid 75 cents a day, or maybe other sources say 60 cents a day, whatever, that is very low. And so another important thing is from 2010, actually about 10 years back, many Western countries are concerned about this because of the media coverage and the human rights organization activists. All of them are putting lobbying pressure to this government. So Western governments are responding to these, the ESG, environmental, social, and governance issue. And US is one of the first countries to have a law, and they have the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, that is 2010. It is a big kind of a lot of big legislation, big piece of legislation, and Section 1502 of the Act requires the Democratic Republic of Congo and 9 neighboring countries like Angola, Rwanda, Central African Republic, and other 9 countries. And the publicly listed companies here in the US, they have to file annually. When they file their annual report, they have to basically tell if they know anything about their supply chain. So this is they call soft law. Soft law means you just tell that you know your supply chain or you do not know your supply chain. If you do not know, that is fine. You just have to tell people, tell the government. The idea here is they call the naming and shaming. And as a consumer like you and me, and if we know that companies like Apple, they say that we don't know anything about their supply chain. That means not knowing is okay. They are not breaking any law, but maybe you and I may not buy Apple product. And so that is the idea behind this regulation. And also following this, there are many jurisdictions and countries all over the world. They also have regulation. And European Union Conflict Mineral Act, that is 2021, and actually that went to force. That was enacted in 2017, but that went into force on the last year, 2021, and that focuses on they call 3TG, which is tin, tungsten, tantalum, and gold. So if you are importing those things from any of the European countries, you are doing business, and importing from other countries, you have to know the supply chain. That is the idea in the EU Conflict Minerals Act. And also other countries also have similar types of laws, like the UK has the Modern Slavery Act 2015, and Australia has another law with the same name, Modern Slavery Act of 2018. And actually individual European countries have their own law to make sure that these mineral and metal companies do not exploit the children and do not engage in socially irresponsible action in Africa and other parts of the world. And especially all these are soft law again, like the UK Modern Slavery Act or the Wall Street Dodd-Frank Act here in the US. And the only country until now which has hard law is France. And France has the law that if you are a French company that employs more than 5,000 people, it is your responsibility to know your supply chain. And you have to make sure that these bad things do not happen in your supply chain. So that is only a law, but until I was writing that article, until that time, there was really not any court judgment, any French company facing penalty or punishment for not complying with the regulation. So practically, this is really important thing. And just talking a little bit about the theoretical importance. And so they have been talking, a lot of researchers for a long time, okay, these new technological innovations come and how they affect the supply chain management. And also there are a lot of these governance arrangements, and they are standalone. This McDonald 2007 published in the Journal of Third World Quarterly, and she argues that, so the standalone nature of supply chain, which do not include any outside members. If you and I are part of supply chain, no one else outside the supply chain knows what is going on in our supply chain. The governments do not know, activists do not know, human rights organizations do not know. And so that is a main problem that she is arguing in the supply chain. And also watchdog organizations cannot really fix any problem, because watchdog organizations cannot have a look at the supply chain system, what is going on. So that is one concern. And also these people, Bostrom and their colleagues have written an article about there are a lot of geographical, informational, communicative, compliance, and power gaps, because consumers are here in the US, and the cobalt miners, the children, are in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So as US people, they don't really know anything about the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is really far. Information doesn't come from there, and all those things are going on. And so the dominant groups, groups in this example are the Chinese cobalt companies, which own pretty much a lot of the cobalt mines in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Actually, China has only 1% of the world's cobalt in China itself. But if you look at a lot of those mines, China owns in Democratic Republic of Congo. And pretty much all of them goes to China for processing. And so if you move further in the value chain, Chinese company own more and more refined cobalt, higher percentage and all that. And so also socio-economic empowerment is a problem. And also looking at the African continent, and a lot of the CSR related articles, if you look at the journals, they do not really focus on Africa. You can find a lot of articles about other developing countries, but not about Africa. And if you go to Africa, the two biggest countries, biggest economies in Africa are South Africa, Nigeria, and maybe few existing articles focus only on South Africa and Nigeria, not in smaller countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo or Rwanda, and that's where the focus of this article is. So these are the things. And so how exactly blockchain-based system, traceability system, when we say blockchain-based system, we basically, it is blockchain combined with something else that I described earlier. When we talk about the economic thing, transaction cost economy, or that type of thing. And Douglas North, who was a Nobel Prize winner 1993 in economics, and so he talks about two things. The problems that the world is facing, like the companies and individuals or economic agents, they cannot engage in transaction. One problem is we cannot really measure things accurately or precisely, or measurement is very costly. That is one problem. And even if we are able to measure things, there is enforcement problem. Enforcement problem means, again, going to Democratic Republic of Congo, you cannot really enforce anything. And so I have basically described in my article that it is not really an exaggeration to say that you can really pretty much bribe anyone in Democratic Republic of Congo, immigration people, police, military, and you can smuggle cobalt to the neighboring country, Rwanda, and basically they are mining cobalt using children, but the government agencies might certify that as a clean cobalt. So those are some of the problems. And facilitating measurement, a lot of things cannot be measured in the non-blockchain world. Blockchain systems can make it possible to measure that. One example is that Circular, again, that is the British traceability as a service provider. And so what it is doing is it can measure the things like as a mining company. Again, so there are a lot of these Western human rights organization activists, and they frequently visit these mining companies in Democratic Republic of Congo, and they have to certify that. But because these mine owners are really clever people. Actually, when these Western companies are going for inspection, they just ask all the children to hide. And when they reach there, these Western companies who are just doing mine inspection to make sure that mines do not engage in this unethical action. So they find that no children working. So they say that this is a good mine. No? And but measurement is not possible right now in the non-blockchain world. And what this company, the British company Circular, is doing is they are investing blockchain system and combined with drones and also machine learning algorithm. They are training the machine learning algorithm. What all those things together as a system do is the drones will take the picture of the mine site, and if any mine site is using children, it is automatically flagged by the machine learning. So the measurement means whether the mine was employing any children or not was not possible before, but it is possible now because of the machine learning and putting all the things in blockchain system. So measurement is possible. That is one thing. And the cost of measurement is really high. And if you go to the coffee industry, and you can have a lot of different types of coffee, like the fair trade coffee and bar-friendly coffee, environmental friendly coffee, and certification is really expensive. Actually, some people say that there was one coffee company in Amsterdam, Moe Coffee, and it was claiming that the certification cost, inspection cost might be close to $1 per pound. But like there is the BEX 360 system used in the country of Uganda, and so basically they use the blockchain system, but the quality of coffee is determined by machine vision, not by people. Accuracy of measurement, basically accuracy of measurement is again they can, in the non-blockchain world, again going back about the coffee here, the quality of coffee is determined by the middlemen. Middlemen come to your coffee farm and they will tell you your coffee is really of bad quality and you will be paid kind of very low. And so basically the middlemen determine the quality of coffee, and they have incentive to lower the quality of farmers' coffee. And so basically the best machines that I was talking, and they are kind of coinstar type of device, and you put your coffee and machine vision automatically basically determines the quality. Cost is very low and accuracy is high. And also contract enforcement. So contract enforcement means we don't really have to rely on the government for enforcing contracts. Smart contracts automatically enforce that. So yeah, I don't have a lot of time to talk about the smart contract right now, but we don't have to really depend on the enforcement of the government. That is the idea here. So this is multiple case study, and I selected 4 cases and 4 cases that I'll basically talk about that later. And I use 2 methods in multiple case study. So the 2 methods are the extreme and diverse method, and the more details are in the article. It's already published, and I'll be happy to send you article, any of you, the email. My email is at the end of this presentation, and I'll just skip this part. I think I already talked a lot, and I have more important things to cover probably in the next kind of 15-20 minutes time that I have. So these are the 4 blockchain-based system that I took for the multiple case study. And again, this is the diverse case method that I'm applying. And the RSBN is one of the blockchain system which has a lot of these members, car companies and cobalt companies and battery companies, and all of them are members of the RSBN. And Circular is the British company, traceability as a service provider, and they focus on mineral. In this case, minerals means cobalt and tantalum mainly. And also these 2 companies, De Beers, that is one of the biggest diamond companies based in South Africa, is focusing on the kind of diamond. And also Everlaser does a lot of things. The British company, again, blockchain company, it also tracks a lot of things like wine and expensive jewelry and a lot of things, but I'm focusing on diamond in this article. So basically, these are the minerals in terms, and so some of them are just, they use a ready-made solution like Circular and Everlaser provide, and in the first row, RSB and De Beers have more custom made type of solution built by firms or the supply chain participants, consortium of supply chain entities. And so those are the 4 different types of system that I used in this article. And so this is a little bit description of the things, and like many of them are the Hyperledger Fabric, the private blockchain by the Linux Foundation. So basically Oracle is also using that, and Oracle combines that with artificial intelligence and other technologies to make sure that they comply with the regulations and all the things. And also De Beers, the solution is developed by the BCG's digital venture. And so basically all of them are using blockchain except for De Beers using Ethereum, which is public blockchain. So basically a little bit description is here. And so blockchain and other major technologies, that is the idea in blockchain system. And the idea here is to track people and organization. So basically cryptography-based digital signature verifies identity of participants, which means that I am who I am claiming to be. and blockchain is the only way to make sure or ensure about that. And so sustainability indicators, and so if companies say that they paid $5 to these miners, and actually you can verify that money went to the miner's wallet. So basically people in organization, and also mineral and metal. And so data are stored and shared in the blockchain system. And one example is Everlaser stores diamonds, unique identities derived from more than 40 attributes. And also people in organization or mineral and metal, other technologies also play a big role here. And facial recognition software, circular uses to identify the person that is working in the mine, and the Oracle blockchain platform uses artificial intelligence and to make sure that suppliers and participants action comply with globally recognized guidelines. And also IBM is planning to do artificial intelligence solution in the future. IBM solution is used by the RSBN in this example, that earlier thing. So basically, what they normally do is they mine all these covalts in the Democratic Republic of Congo in unethical way, and they just cross the border, go to Rwanda, and they claim that they actually mine the cobalt in Rwanda. And so Rwanda, basically, if you say that it is from Rwanda, and so you'll be paid a little bit more as a miner. But IBM solution, basically artificial intelligence solution, they have to train all these machine learning algorithm, cobalt from different parts of Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, what exactly they look like. Because depending on where they mine, their chemical composition is a little bit different. So IBM is developing that solution. So, and also a tracker uses the devious tracker system uses the GPS, and then when you find a piece of diamond in one place, and you have to log that piece, and so GPS basically make sure that basically you are entering the correct information. So, and also Circular is using smartphone and GPS capability, and that means also they use the satellite imagery to make sure that I'm a mining company, and if I claim that I have a cobalt mine in this part of Rwanda, then automatically satellite image will determine that there is actually mine. And so basically, the idea here is blockchain and non-blockchain systems are being used to track and trace organizations, minerals, and metals in the 4 cases I have been presenting today. So, okay, this is a little bit thing about if you are curious how exactly that works. And this is a very simple kind of tracking things for diamond. And there is the miner, there is cutter, polisher, and jeweler, and there is the validator. A validator is like for the RSBN, there is RCS, that is responsible sourcing company, that is a validator. And for like the IBM Hyperledger fabric that IBM has provided to, I think, Everlaser, the validator is UL, that is one of the companies. So validator is outside agency, not only supply chain, there is the validator here. And so this is the blue thing here is the information flow. Information flows from miner, cutter, polisher, all these nodes. This is how blockchain works. And this is the physical flow of material. It goes miner to cutter, to polisher, to jeweler, and consumer. And consumers normally are not connected to blockchain. So basically, the way it works is all this information about the tracking and tracing is put on a website. And when consumers scan their QR code, the information actually comes from the website, and they are not connected to the blockchain. So this is how things work in the kind of tracking of diamond. The cobalt is a little bit more complicated. So I have 6 propositions that I developed based on this, and this is the major part of the paper. And so the 6 propositions here focus on a few different things. This 6th proposition, the first proposition basically talks about blockchain is a decentralized network with high supply chain density. So density, supply chain density, they've written a lot of articles. This person, Burro, has talked about governance system, and in the governance system, supply chain governance system, low centrality and high density. So low centrality and high density, and they were talking in the non-blockchain world. If there is low centrality means if the information always flows from one place and goes to all different places, that is centrality. High degree of centrality. So blockchain has low degree of centrality, and also high density of information flows. Information flows from all different places, and so this is clear. So blockchain has in that system low centrality and high density of information flow, and that helps to make sure that supply chain participants comply with sustainability standard. That is the first part, first proposition. And the second and third focus on the trust issues. There are three types of trust: first party trust, second party trust, and the third party trust. First party trust is trust in yourself, okay, trust in myself. That is first party trust. And second party trust is how do you trust your business partner? Your business partner is telling you something. Do you really trust your business partner? That is second party trust. And third party trust is trust in government or trust in certification agencies. So you and I are doing business, and my trust in you is second party trust. And if you and I have some type of like contract problem, enforcement problem, we depend on government to enforce contract. That is third party trust. And there is a lot of second party and third party trust. And so Lynn Zucker is one of the persons who has written a lot about trust, and she talks about three types of trust and three types of trust. And so we have first party, second party, third party. That is different thing. But Lynn Zucker talks about institutional based trust. Institutional based trust means there are institutions like the government and police and law enforcement. All those institutions make sure that you and I do whatever we are supposed to have signed in the contract. So that is institution based trust. And so, but if you and I have been doing business for a long time, then we rely on transaction based trust, because we have a history of engaging in transaction, doing a lot of business, and I trust you and you trust me. That is transaction-based trust. And third is characteristics-based trust. Characteristics-based trust means we look at some of the characteristics, attributes of a company, and this looks like a trustworthy company, good brand name, or we look at the review of consumers, and all those are characteristics-based trust. So if you go to countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo, there is no institution-based trust, because the law enforcement people, military, immigration people, you can pretty much bribe all of them. And so there is the lack of institution-based trust. And there is a lack of also the transaction-based trust based on history. And so we have to rely on the kind of characteristics-based trust. That means characteristics-based trust means if you use the GPS location. So basically, so if I'm a mining company, if I tell that this piece of diamond was mined in a responsible way, so you may not really trust me, but I verified that with GPS location automatically. GPS location, and the information goes to blockchain. So there is the characteristics-based trust, and also basically some of the things in the non-blockchain world, it has to be certified. The information is entered by the government officials, and you don't really depend on the government official because miners have their cell phone or small iPad and where a tablet where they enter the information themselves. And so basically we don't really have to depend on the government to produce trust, because miners enter the information rather than the government. So these are second and third propositions are second party trust, and third party trust problems will be kind of fixed by addressed by the blockchain-based system. And fourth proposition is that the blockchain system, and compared to the traditional supply chain system, traditional supply chain system is stand-alone. That means only supply chain partners know what is going on in the supply chain. Outside parties are not connected. And so blockchain has blockchain systems that I described here, they have outside partners, like the RSBN has RCS Global as an independent data validator. Here also data validator. These are outside partners who basically look at the thing. And also, actually, one of the plans that the RSBN has is in the future, the idea basically is that the government agencies and consumers will also have access to the information. So the traditional supply chain system is stand-alone, discrete system, but outside members have access to the system. Like in Everlaser uses Underwriter Lab, which is a Swiss company in the trust chain platform, to make sure that the transactions are basically they comply with different regulations. And also Everlaser has the Diamond Labs protocol, which allows consumers to view complete report of diamond that they purchase. So basically, they are not stand-alone anymore. Outside parties have access to the information about the blockchain system. And Proposition 5 talks about the reconfiguration. Reconfiguration means when you talk about accountability, and I have a definition of accountability here, accountability means, this is the meaning of being accountable. Being accountable means actors that exercise power over another. It's those small kind of the worker, children. Actors, when they exercise power over another, they are responsive to the needs of those over whom the power is being exercised. That is one of the definitions of accountable. And so when you talk about accountability, the governments, which are government agencies, are entering the data about the kind of cobalt and all those mines, and they are not really accountable. But these Western companies, if you are a British company, if you are an Indian company or a US company, you should be accountable. If companies are not accountable, consumers might boycott them, consumers might penalize them. So basically, in the non-blockchain system, government agencies were kind of entering the information, and the blockchain system, the governments do not have to enter the information because the multinational companies find other ways to validate the information. The information is directly entered by the mining company. So basically, reconfiguration means the power. Okay, so put differently, some of the things that were performed by the government agencies are automatized. You know, basically, the facial recognition system is identifying the worker, and the worker is putting the data. And finally, the sixth proposition talks about the voice and representation. In the non-blockchain world, these the children, the small miner, we call the ASM, additional and small scale miners, they do not really have any voice. You know, they cannot really tell what is going on. Now they have voice and representation because they are the ones entering data about the diamond or cobalt that they mine. They are the ones entering the data in the blockchain system. So basically, they have voice and representation. And so these are the 6 ways that the blockchain system, which means blockchain combining with other technologies, might facilitate kind of responsible and ethical sourcing in the mineral and the metal industry. So basically, this is the main part in the paper, and I had 2 research questions that earlier I presented. And so basically, high network density, information flow that facilitates a kind of different governance arrangements that the traditional supply chain has. And this is especially useful in developing countries where there are no trust producing mechanism, or intermediary cost is really high in developing countries, and blockchain might address that. The machine learning algorithm can analyze the image of mine sites and hazardous working condition, and all of those will be verified. And a second part, I already talked, the sixth proposition, that reconfiguration of supply chain, and the small mining companies can enter their own data. That means they have voice and they have representation, which is not possible in the non-blockchain world. So that is the basic thing in this article. And okay, so basically, how exactly distributive justice can be promoted by using blockchain. And the distributive justice, the definition of distributive justice is that so I have this definition that I took from a guy who wrote in 1972 article, Wishman. He says that distributive justice means equitable. I'm just reading his definition: equitable and just allotment of honor, money, dignity, and other social rewards among members of society. So that is the definition of distributive justice, and this is not from part of the paper, another paper. So basically, how blockchain system can fix that is a potential victim of unjust act, like the children that I was saying earlier. They are voicing representation and reduce risk of being victimized by fraud and misrepresentation in measurements. That is the common problem now. And so these things are not possible in the blockchain world. Potential victims of unjust acts benefit that way. And potential perpetrators and weakened power. And so their power is weakened because the idea here is that these unjust people, and many people think that, again, I'm just quoting another guy, another person here, Bakshil in 1980, and what he says is that many people think that unjust people work alone and against the world. So that is the thing, that, okay, there is unjust, this big company victimizing these children in the Democratic Republic of Congo. But that is not necessarily true. And what he says is that unjust people work against the world is not necessarily true. Actually, they work in concert and against well-selected outsiders, because outsiders means maybe for the Chinese companies, maybe Chinese companies do not victimize Chinese maybe, but it is okay for Chinese Covalent companies to victimize the Democratic Republic of Congo children. So outsiders, and they work in concert, means they work in collaboration with the government agencies. So weekend power, the Chinese Covalent companies do not get the cooperation of government agencies anymore, and that's why their power is weakened, because other people, they are collaborating with the unjust actors. Blockchain makes sure that they are not there. And so the contract is vague and unilateral, and smart contract might fix that problem. And also other actors like you and me, which are not part of the supply chain. You and I also can do things like we penalize unjust act. Penalize unjust act means maybe if the companies do not show the proof that they are really sourcing ethically, we do not buy their product. And so so penalization of unjust act. And actually many consumers, especially the millennial generation, younger consumers, think that way. And so they do not buy from companies, they do not source ethically. And also maybe we can help them. So help means basically the government agencies like the British Embassy in Thailand provided about $90,000 to develop smart contract for the seafood workers. Actually, Thailand is a big seafood industry Thailand has, but the workers go from workers in Thailand in the seafood industry come from Myanmar, Cambodia, and they are really exploited. And so basically, but there is the eMint tool based on blockchain developed with the funding from the UK government. And so smart contract that will be put on Ethereum. And so that means the contract is public. Anyone can verify that. So basically, the things that all of us can take to make sure that unethical things do not take place. So I have a little bit conclusion things, and just to make sure that we have time for question answer. And in this conclusion section, there is really nothing new. So I'll just stop here. And thank you very much for listening. And let's see if there is any question or any comments about the presentation. I'll just stop here. Thank you very much again for the opportunity. Thank you, Santosh. Thank you, everyone.
You're very welcome, Professor Neesh. Thank you very much for that interesting talk. Participants, may I please request you to please post your questions in the chat. And in the meanwhile, Yogesh sir, your thoughts first. I would like to hear from you on the discussion shared by Professor Neesh.
Obviously, very, very interesting talk. And what I like to highlight that this work, obviously, I have seen many of the Neesh paper published in IAEM as well. Some of them are very, very highly cited. And I can now see why they are highly cited, because there are lots of meaning. There is lots of social and managerial relevance of his work. What he has actually brought out through his research and put kind of try to resolve how those issues can be spotted and addressed. Just few days ago, I was watching a documentary about Congo's mining industry, and how huge the documentary hugely highlighted the problem of child labor and danger for their life when they work in mines. Many of them probably go and never come out. That kind of situation exists. So providing solution where these issues can be tracked, and then obviously the organization outside Congo can decide what they want to do. They want to do business or not. They want to get the raw material or not. All that things. So very relevant, high impact research, I would say. So I congratulate NEER for conducting such a wonderful research, and obviously it's being published. So I'm very sure that it will be getting huge attention by peers and others. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Yogesh.
Thank you very much, Professor Yogesh sir. And Professor Neer, I have the initial question that I would want to ask you. Sure. First of all, sir, congratulations. This is the first time I'm actually hearing you speak and also looking at your work as well, and that's impressive to say the least. And frankly, I really like the way how there are areas which you probably never even would think about using a technology such as advanced as AI or ML or maybe blockchain or IoT, and you have broken it down to that easy bits and gone down to the areas where they need help and support the most. Developing countries, especially countries like DRC that you mentioned, and maybe the seafood industry in Thailand as well, which is thriving. Both are extremely thriving areas of business, which business technically cannot avoid, and you cannot get out of business over there from those areas for capital reasons, of course. So amazing work, sir, and I'm pleasantly surprised on seeing how the connect, as Yogesh sir very rightly said, this is one reason why you're highly cited. Sir, one question that's been at my head is, would blockchain methods, the ones that you mentioned, especially for the minerals and metals industry, I saw how you could translate that down to the bottom rung, but could the same model be implemented for other sectors in a similar fashion, or would the entire model need to be changed? Like, for instance, let's say the IT industry or procurement or services based industry, because India has got a lot of IT and IT enabled services business going on. So if the same model needs to be put in a country like, let's say, India or Indonesia or in one of these Asian countries, would a similar model be applicable? How are
right, actually yeah, so these are based on the kind of at least 3 of them are based on the Hyperledger fabric, the private blockchain. And so basically it is just plug and play type of thing. That means you just enter the data, and then like I think if you are using IBM company solution, each node has to pay I think $1,000 per month. And so like one of the food companies, Carrefour, is using that and subsidizing for small players. They pay only €100 a month or something. So basically it works pretty much all the things. And again, the problem is so blockchain is only the shared truth. Okay, shared truth means you, I, and everyone else has access to the same information, and it is not the ultimate source of truth, because there is a lot of problem. And so if you are tracking digital things, blockchain is really good, digital tracking digital things, but you are tracking physical things and their digital counterpart, and linking the physical and digital the digital information that is in the blockchain is a big problem. That means there is the first mile problem, making sure that the data that is initially entered in the blockchain is the correct one, and the last mile problem, and how to verify that, okay, this is the food, that information in the blockchain. How can we make sure that is the same food? And so basically making sure that all of those things are not problem depends on the type of thing. Again, just I think just going back to the 2 industries that I talked, diamond is is relatively easy, and you basically mine the rough diamond and cut and polish, and diamond doesn't change a lot. Artificial intelligence is quite good, and this is the rough diamond, and the finished diamond will look like that. But that is not the case of cobalt. Cobalt, you mine that and you apply chemical and you heat and a lot of things, it changes a lot. So basically the thing is, depending on the products that you are talking about, food or cobalt or diamond or other products, there are different levels of challenge, and the biggest problem is kind of making sure that there is no first mile problem. That means data entered in the blockchain ledger in the initial data is the correct one, and there is a last mile problem is fixed. That means, so I'm claiming this is the digital information of the physical product. How can we make sure that that is the same digital product? So different level of challenge involved, but pretty much they basically plug and play hyperledger fabric type of solution in this 3.1.3, and so yeah, that's how things work. I had a few things here, and can I try to address that? Like
absolutely, please, sir.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
John has asked a question, like affected countries be part of the design, and unfortunately no. So affected countries, they are not participating right now in these particular solutions that I was talking about. Okay, in the first place, the Democratic Republic of Congo might have only I don't know the exact number, but I'm quite sure that 50% of the country doesn't have any internet connection, or even cellular lines, cellular network and all the things. And so basically these are developed by outside companies like the Ford Motor Company or the IBM developed the solution, or the Chinese, and these are mainly developed to satisfy the Western countries' regulations, because US wants that. From Dodd-Frank Act, the UK wants that, Modern Slavery Act, the EU wants the Conflict Minerals Act. So these are response to that. And yeah, I'm not quite sure these companies are really for solving the problem in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Yeah, this is unfortunate thing that they are not part of the solution, but at least this is better than nothing, So basically better than not having anything, and that is the only thing. Maybe in the future, the connectivity will improve and everyone will have the entire country of Democratic Republic of Congo will have connection, and people will be more educated. Educated means they are educated, but they can develop their own technical solution, and if there is any problem. And okay, you might want to go to Democratic Republic of Congo and install a blockchain system with IoT and AI and ML, and it breaks down. Can they fix that? And so basically making sure that all of the things work, and maybe in the future, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, it might take place, but right now, unfortunately, these are developed by outside people, and so the locals are not part of that, and that is one thing. Okay, so basically another question is, can be delivered with blockchain? One of the biggest challenges is, yeah, basically that is the challenge, bringing all the stakeholders together, and they call the network effect in economics. Network effect means if you can bring all of the participants together, the benefit is big. But even if you bring a few participants together, there is still some benefit. So that is the idea here. Actually, the problem here is, actually China is one of the biggest importer of all these minerals and metals. But this is not the view, but China really doesn't have any law. Like the UK has the Modern Slavery Act, and the US has the Dodd-Frank Act. China doesn't have any law, and China is not really concerned about the human rights violation in Democratic Republic of Congo. Chinese companies are not facing any pressure. Actually, there is, I think, in London Metal Exchange, and they were trying to implement this kind of making sure that these the conflict metals and all those do not enter in the supply chain. That's what London Metal Exchange wanted to do that, but there was a big opposition from Chinese companies. So that's why it is postponed until 2025 now. So basically, it is difficult to bring all the network participants together, and the main problem is China. And so some of the Chinese companies are part of the solution, but the reason part of the network here is because they are facing pressure from cobalt buyers from the US, and that is the only reason. So, and Chinese companies especially do not face any human rights violation type of pressure fixing that, or there are not any legislative type of developments taking place in China. So these are not, again, perfect thing beginning. In the future, there will be a lot of things and more research opportunity to write when things develop in the future. But not a lot of things going on right now.
Just one thing, Neer. how do you get the context? I mean, given that you are outsider, so for example, if you the information that you want to gather from Congo, how do you get those information?
Yeah, basically, all these articles, I did not really do any primary data type of thing, and I read a lot of things, and the local newspaper mainly, and the newspaper from other parts of the world. Basically, they said that this archival research is apparently a recognized source for multiple cases. And that's what Eisenhardt, one of the main persons writing, and so basically, I'm mainly relying on archival research, reading a lot of things and thousands of articles, and that's what I'm doing now. And the best thing will be maybe going to the site and talking with local people, and that may, and combining that secondary sources and archival data. That might be a better thing to do in the future, I guess.
Fantastic. That's just one more thing. I mean, you working a lot on blockchain and obviously AI and other related technology with blockchain. So now lots of people talking about blockchain and metaverse. So metaverse cannot, I mean, basically for metaverse to properly work, blockchain should be an important component. So are you looking at anything like that?
Right. Actually, one of my small pieces, a couple of pieces will be coming in a few months, and one I wrote about metaverse, and metaverse, that is the part of Web 3.0, and the idea in Web 3.0 is because we want to address the Web 2.0 problem. All these governments and Facebook-like type of companies controlling your data, my data, and so apparently this video gaming is a big industry. Like they say that $400 billion industry in a few years' time. But if you are a video game player, I'm not online game player, then apparently, like if you go to these gaming companies, you spend a lot of money, and the gaming companies own your things, so basically, why not to create your non-fungible token NFT, and then you own that based on Ethereum mainly, and if you are really able to develop that, sell it to other parties, the NFT, and you can make money. Actually, one example I was giving is the country of Philippines. Philippines people, if you go to, there are a lot of Filipino people here. They are really good. They make a lot of money. But if you go to the Middle East, they have to face all these problems in the country of Qatar or Kuwait or Saudi Arabia, and they really mistreat these people from Philippines. So, but few of these Filipino people, actually, many of them actually are making money on metaverse. Okay, they don't go to Saudi Arabia to work anymore. They go to the metaverse. Metaverse is a place where even the country of Barbados has embassy there already, and so metaverse is a country now, like a country. And actually, Filipino people play a game on the metaverse, and they make 2-3 times more money compared to the Filipino that they make in Saudi Arabia or Filipino, because and if you cannot buy your NFT, and you can loan actual NFT, and they can loan you, and basically you make money and pay. And so basically many Filipino people are making more money on the metaverse, creating their NFT. And the game allows you to do that. So basically, the idea in the metaverse is that everything is decentralized, and blockchain is the main building block, and it has opened a lot of opportunities for countries like Philippines already. And so this is really exciting thing. And I have a few articles coming. One is the scam type of thing in NFT that is coming in computer in April, and also the metaverse thing in IT professional in April. So I have started looking at that, and I'm sure you are working on that too. And so yeah, maybe we can do something together.
Sure.
And that is really interesting thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yogesh.
Santoshi, now you.
Thank you, sir. Very interesting points that you brought in there, Professor Neer. Thank you very much for that wonderful thoughts. Thank you for presenting such a down-to-earth explanation to the layman. I'm not sure how many are exposed to this area earlier in the list of participants that we have. But thank you for making it so lucid and yet so in-depth and productive for all of us. It's been a treat, a visual treat to hear you today. And thank you for joining us and taking out time, especially first thing in the morning, coming from Pacific time, 8 a.m. in the morning. You are starting your day with us, and that's nothing great, that more greater than that what we can ask for. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Neer. Thank you, Yogesh, sir, as always, for establishing this entire chain of seminar series with eminent speakers such as Professor Need today. And thank you all the speakers for joining in, and all the participants for joining in and taking out your time and attending this session. Thank you all. You all have a great evening and a day ahead. And sir, there's one last question that's come in. I'm not sure if you would, be able to take it. If you would like to, you can. Komal Suryavanshi says, sir, government is planning to come up with digital money using blockchain technology. Could you please highlight on it? Okay. So, sir, this I'll just give you a reference. I'm not sure if you are aware. In India, we've had the budget yesterday. That was the 1st of February. And the Indian government is planning to launch a digital rupee. And so that would be based on blockchain technology. So that is the question that Komal is putting up.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, just to tell you, I have 3 papers on this one, and I did one in computer last year, and one is coming in the Journal of Contemporary China. So it will be coming in a few months' time about the Chinese digital yuan. So what China is trying to do that. And third one is with my colleague from the International Monetary Fund, Elena, and we are publishing about the private issue. So basically, and this is the one of the biggest concerns right now is privacy of this one, because it is not like the fiat currency that you and I have, Indian rupees, and my 1,000 rupees Indian rupees, I have high degree of privacy. But when it is blockchain based, or not really blockchain, for example, Chinese digital yuan is not blockchain based, but a lot of other currencies are blockchain based, and 80 to 85% countries are kind of different phases of development. US Fed is talking about that. China is in the advanced stage, and so basically in the future, basically imagine that maybe there may not be a lot of privacy. And actually, in China's case, if the Chinese Communist Party doesn't like, and I'm against Chinese Communist Party, and I have my 100,000 Chinese renminbi, and the government will make that 0. Okay, so government has power to do that. So China is the ultimate example. It can even cancel your money, and it can do all the things. And so depending on and other countries like Australia and New Zealand and the US are talking about, oh, okay, there should be some degree of privacy, but they also want to make sure that there is no money laundering and anti-money laundering condition, all those satisfy. And so basically all of these have less privacy compared to the fiat money, and they vary. Like the Thailand, it has they are talking about a Thai baht, and it has kind of the central bank wants to have a look at all the transactions that you are doing, and Cambodia already has, and Cambodia has a little bit higher privacy. So basically everything boils down to the privacy thing here. How much information government wants to have access to. And so basically I saw that Indian rupees thing, the detail, I haven't read that, but looking at the analyzing China, Cambodia, Thailand, and the plan that New Zealand and Australia have, and one of the Marshall Islands, small Pacific Island countries, all of them have, and pretty much everything has a privacy concern, government having a lot of control over your money. But it has a lot of other positive sides, so basically if you use credit card companies, there are intermediaries and you have to pay all those things, and they say that there is the problem of inclusion, so basically many people do not have account, and banks do not open account for poor people because they are not profitable for them, and so they might have access to that. So the idea is that financial inclusion problem might be solved, they can expand financial inclusion problem. That is the positive side. In the US, actually, after the financial crisis, and if you are living in an area where a lot of these minorities like African American poor people live, and there are not bank branches anymore, so they are not profitable anymore. So but with the government thing, all of them will have it. So basically, yeah, just put it short, more inclusion, as the governments want to put that, and less privacy. And China is ultimate example, no privacy at all. Other countries have a little bit more than that. I don't know in India, but I'm really curious to read about that. Maybe we can do next presentation in a few months time, few weeks time to talk about that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking that question in the last moment, and with absolutely very less context on that as well. But you brilliantly answered that, and that's bang on to the point, sir. That's exactly how it is scheduled, right? Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Yogesh, sir, and thank you all for joining us today. And take care, and we'll meet again soon in the next seminar series.